If you're still designing in Figma without plugins, you're probably doing twice the work for like half the output. Because out of the box, Figma is missing a lot of things you need for everyday design work. And while there are a ton of different plugins out there, a lot of them aren't all that reliable and don't actually fix the problems you need solved. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 Figma plugins that are must-haves for almost every project you'll do. And by the end, you'll have a setup that allows you to get so much more done in a shorter amount of time as a designer. Let's get straight into the first tool. So every UI needs icons, and hunting for them outside of Figma is one of the biggest time wasters there is. You're designing a dashboard or a mobile app and you need a settings gear, a notification bell, a search icon, or whatever it is. And without a plugin, you'd have to go to a separate icon website to find what you need, download the SVG, drag it back into Figma, and then realize that it doesn't match the style of the other icons that you already have. Iconify fixes all of that because it gives you access to over 200,000 icons from more than 150 different icon sets, all inside of Figma. So let me show you how it works. I've got this design open and I need some icons in here. Now let me open Iconify and search for a settings icon. As you can see, it is pulling results from all of these different icon sets: material design, font awesome, fluent, and a ton more. Let me grab this one right here. I'll just click import and it drops straight into my canvas. And because it comes as a vector, I can do whatever I want with it. Let me change the color real quick. See that? Just like editing any other Figma element. Now let me grab a notification icon from the same set so that everything stays consistent, and then boom, it is done with the same visual style across both icons. And it took me like, what, about 10 seconds? And that's the whole point of this plugin. You stay in one place, you pick from any major icon set, and everything matches. No more downloading, importing, or going back and forth between Figma and some website. Now that your icons are sorted, the next thing that slows you down is images. If you're building anything with photos like landing pages, user profiles, product cards, or hero sections, you need actual images in there because a design full of gray rectangles doesn't tell anyone anything. Unsplash gives you access to a massive library of high quality royalty-free photos directly inside Figma. Everything on Unsplash is shot by real photographers, and the license covers both personal and commercial projects. So you're covered no matter what you are designing for. Here's what this looks like. All right, so I've got these empty shapes here that need images. Let me open up Unsplash and search for something. Let's say office workspace. Okay, so I'll select this hero banner shape and then just click one of these images. And look at that. It fills the shape right away, perfectly cropped. Let me do the same with these cards down here. Done. 3 images placed in a few seconds, and I never had to leave Figma. By the way, if you want to skip the manual Figma work altogether, there's a tool called Flowstep that can generate complete UI designs just from a prompt. So instead of hunting for icons, dragging in stock photos, and setting everything up manually using all of these different plugins, you just describe what you want, and Flowstep builds the whole thing for you. Let me show you real quick. So I'll type in generate a mobile UI for a food delivery app home screen and hit generate. And there it is, a full home screen with icons, images, cards, navigation, all generated in seconds. Now let me click on this icon. See, it's fully editable. And this text layer right here, same thing. Real text, I can change. Now let me select this whole design, copy it, and switch over to Figma. And there it is, real layers, real components, no plugins needed. Everything else around it stays the same. Just swap the screen recording block. If you want to try this out, it will be the first link in the description, and it's also free to get started. Now back to plugins. So you've got your icons from Iconify and your images from Unsplash, but sometimes you need to cut a subject out of a photo. Maybe you're designing a profile section and you want just a person without the whole background, or you're putting together a hero section and you need a clean cutout to layer over a gradient. Doing that manually means jumping over to Photoshop or some other tool, removing the background there, exporting it, and then bringing it back into Figma. Remove BG gets it done in one click, right inside Figma. It uses remove.bg API under the hood, so the results are really clean clean and accurate. One thing worth knowing though is that you need a free remove.bg account to use this plugin, and you'll paste in your API key the first time that you set it up. Takes about a minute to do, and after that, it's one click every time. Let me show you how it works. So I've got this photo here with a pretty busy background. Let me select it, open remove.bg, and just run it. And there we go. The background is completely gone. Now let me place this over a gradient to show you how it looks in an actual design. See how clean that is? There's no rough edges, no weird artifacts. The whole thing took a couple of seconds, and I didn't have to open a single other app. This is one of those plugins that sounds really simple, but the time it saves adds up really fast. Every time you don't have to leave Figma, open another app, and then come back, that's a few minutes saved. And across a full project, those minutes turn into hours real fast, let me tell you. The next plugin is Lorem Ipsum. You see, the thing about designing with empty text boxes and gray shapes, it makes your design look unfinished, and it makes it harder for anyone reviewing it to understand what's going on. But at the same time, you usually don't have all of the final copy or real images ready yet, especially early in the design process. Now, the Lorem Ipsum plugins by DivRights fills your designs with realistic placeholder content in one click, and it does way more than just text. Most people think this plugin only generates Lorem Ipsum copy, but it actually handles three things: text, images, and fake data. So let me walk you through each one. All right, so I've got this design here with a bunch of empty text boxes and placeholder shapes, and it looks pretty rough right now. Let me open the Lorem Ipsum plugin and start with the text. I'll select these text layers and hit generate. Each one gets a unique block of placeholder copy, and it automatically adjusts the amount of text to fit the frame, so I don't have to tweak sizing after the fact. But here's the part most people don't know about. I can also populate designs with fake data. So if I've got a contacts list or a team page, instead of typing John Doe 10 times, I just let the plugin fill it in with realistic names and profile info. Now for all these image shapes, I can actually search Unsplash right from inside the same plugin. Let me search for something and fill these in. There we go. And look at the difference. This went from looking like a wireframe to looking like an actual product in about 30 seconds. Now this next plugin is different from the others because instead of adding things to your design, it brings an entire existing website into Figma. HTML.2.design converts any live website into fully editable Figma layers. You paste in a URL, the plugin imports the page, and you get real Figma elements like text layers, image fills, buttons, spacing, all of it. And it preserves the CSS styling, so fonts, colors, and layout structure all come through. This is useful for redesign projects where you don't want to rebuild the current site from scratch, or for studying how competitors laid out their pages, or if a client says, I want something like this website, and you want to start iterating on top of it right away. So let me show you how fast this is. So I'm going to open html.2.design and paste in a URL here. Let me import this and see what we get. All right, so the whole page just came in as editable Figma layers. Let me click on the heading. See, it's a real text layer and I can edit it right here. Let me change this to something else, and I can grab this section and move it around, or even swap out the colors. So everything is fully editable. This isn't a screenshot or a flat image. These are real Figma layers I can work with. If I had to recreate all of this manually, it would take hours, but this literally took seconds. And you can also import pages at different viewport sizes, like desktop, tablet, and mobile. So if you're working on responsive designs, you get all the breakpoints laid out on your canvas at once. There's also a Chrome extension that lets you capture pages behind logins or on private networks, which is useful if you're working with an internal product that isn't publicly accessible. Plugin 6 is going to be Lottie files, and this is what makes a design feel alive. Lottie files gives you access to over 100,000 free animations that you can drop straight into your Figma designs. We're talking about loading spinners, success stakes, onboarding illustrations, micro interactions, and pretty much any type of animation you'd use in a real product. And you don't need any motion design skills to use it. Let me show you what this looks like. So I'm going to open up Lottie files and search for a loading animation. Now there are thousands of options here, but let's just preview this one. that looks great, but the colors, they don't match my design. Now I can actually customize the palette right here inside of the plugin before I even insert it. So let me match it to the brand colors that I'm using. Perfect. Now I'll insert it as a GIF onto the screen. And look at how much more real that feels compared to a static placeholder. But the part that really sets this apart is the Figma to Lottie feature. You can actually create animations right inside Figma using presets or by connecting multiple frames together and then exporting them as production-ready Lottie files, which means your developers can take that exact animation and use it in the actual product. Same file, no recreation needed. And for prototyping, you can add these animations to your Figma prototypes so that when you present to stakeholders, they see how the product will actually feel with real motion. So all of these plugins are cool. There's still 6 separate tools you need to find, install, learn, and maintain just to get Figma to do what you need it to do. But Flowstep actually has all of that built in. You type a prompt and it generates a complete UI with real icons, real images, proper layout, and animation all in one place. There's no plugins, no extensions, and no complicated setup. So if you want a faster way to design without managing a bunch of plugins, Flowstep will be the first link in the description, and it is free to start using it. And if you want to see the 7 AI tools that can save you over 100 hours a month as a product designer, then watch this video next.